Okay, let's talk a little bit more seriously about what it's like to date in Portugal. I should preface all of this by saying I don't do a lot of dating because I find it incredibly tedious. And there are lots of things that I find really enjoyable, and going on dates is not one of them. So, a little bit less about dating and more about how I find male-female relationships in Portugal. This is my platform where I talk about my experience. If you've had a different experience, that's really great for you. I won't invalidate yours. Don't invalidate mine. What I see as relationships between men and women romantically is that they are not friends. What do I mean by that? Well, the vast majority of people who I know who are couples, Portuguese couples, don't hang out together. Like, they hang out as a couple, but when they're hanging out with their friends, they're hanging out separately. Their friends are over here, their friends are over here. And they're not all together because they don't share friends. They don't like spend time together hanging out. They just like are a couple. Does that make sense? And that's not a relationship that I'm willing to have. And on the flip side of that, I've talked a lot about like kind of having male friends and kind of getting them to a point of seeing me as a friend. And that, I think, is the same exact dynamic, that there's really this like separation of sexes in Portugal that I see in my experience. So when I go on dates, I don't know. I don't like the whole like we're sizing each other up as potential partners. We are. But like, I want to know if I just like get along with you, first of all. And I feel like with Portuguese men, it's such a like, like I'm going to pay for the date. I'm going to show off that I'm like, a man. And I'm like, cool, but like, are you witty? Can you take a joke? Can you make a joke? And also, like, have you done anything in your life? No, I'm dating in Setúbal. It's a small city, so there's a lot of kind of small town vibes. And it's hard for me to date somebody who hasn't lived anywhere else, who hasn't left the country. That's not my perspective of the world, so that's really hard for me to relate to. So unfortunately, I think the people who I'm able to relate with the most are other people who are living in Portugal as expats, because their experiences are my experiences and they have a different perspective of Portugal and the world. And also Portuguese who have lived abroad for a significant amount of time, especially if they've lived in a lot of different countries and maybe have come back recently. Dating sucks. When I'm talking about dating, I'm talking about people I meet on apps, which are awful places. But yeah, it's also a very personal experience. Like, I met somebody the other day who was like, she's married, and I was like, oh, how'd you meet your husband? And she was like, on Tinder. And I was like, honestly, like, fuck you. Oh wait, sorry, it wasn't just that she'd met him on Tinder, it was that he was her first Tinder date ever. And I was like, honestly, like, go away, like, I don't want to speak to you. Somebody who went on one dating app date and is married. Anyways,